Recording. All right, friends, we are going to be taking our math quiz B, and we are talking about dividing. So what we're dividing is two things. A whole number, we're going to divide a whole number by a unit fraction, and we're going to divide unit fractions by whole numbers. These are different things. What the first one is saying is that I have 5 items, and I'm going to split them into thirds. And how many of these thirds do I have? How many thirds do I have? Put it in the chat. How many thirds do I have? How many total thirds do I have? Who's going to be the quickest? I predict it will be, I don't know. How many thirds? Nobody knows how many thirds there are. How many thirds are there? How many pieces of thirds do I have? How many pieces of thirds? I don't have 1/15. How many thirds do I have? Look at those dots. How many thirds? How many thirds are there? There's not 1/15. Derek, 3 thirds would be 1 whole. I only have 5 thirds. Let me count. Ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 15 thirds. It's not 1/15. So this is what we do. Remember, what we're really doing is we're multiplying. And we're multiplying by the reciprocal. We're multiplying by the reciprocal. So what we do with this 1/3 is we flip it to 3/1. 5 stays the same. So this is how you get 15. Okay? All right, next, let's look at 1/3 divided by 5. What this really is saying is what do I have? I have a third. This is 1/3. And what I need to do is I need to split it into 5 pieces. But it's not just this third. I have to split all thirds into 5 pieces. What is the value of just one of these little pieces? If I have a third and I split it into 5, what's the value of that piece? What's the value of that piece? Correct, Odette. Now, here's what we do. We do the same thing. In dividing, what we're going to do is we're going to multiply by the reciprocal. So what are we going to do with 5/1? We're going to flip it to 1/5. 1/3 stays the same, and this is how you end up with 1/15. So, do you see the pattern in red? Do you see the pattern in red? Thumbs up if you see the pattern in red. Okay. All right. I'm going to do 5 out of your 7 problems with you for your quiz. I'm going to do 5 out of your 7 problems. Okay, so here is your first problem. Let me see. It says, Ms. Hartline grades 1 math test every blank hour. How many math tests does Miss Hartline grade in blank hours? So here's what we're going to do. This is problem number, sorry, these are out of order. I need to figure out the order. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5. Okay. She grades one math test every 1/4 hour. Oops. One math test every... Why doesn't this work? Sorry. Every one math test every 1/4 hour. Okay? How many math tests does Miss Hartline grade in 3? This should be 3. 3 hours. Okay. So, she grades one math test every 1/4 hour. So really, what are we going to do here? We're going to divide 3. So it's 3 hours divided by 3 hours divided by 1/4 each. Remember, what do you do here? What do you do? We're really multiplying by the reciprocal. So if you got, Ange, she grades 1/12 of a math test in 2 hours? She doesn't even grade one whole math test? She grades 12 math tests in 2 hours. She grades 12 math tests in 2 hours. Okay? So now it says, Ms. Hartline grades one homework assignment in blank the amount of time it takes for her to grade one math test. So I'm going to go with half. It takes her, she grades one homework assignment and half the time it takes for her to grade one math test. How many hours does it take her to grade one homework assignment? How many hours does it take her to grade one homework assignment? So if we're looking at, she takes 1/4 of an hour, right? 1/4 of an hour for homework. And it's 1/2 of 1/4. She can grade a homework assignment in 1/8 of an hour. 1/8 of an hour. Okay, so this is 1/2 of the math test. It's 1/2 of the math test. Okay? This, friends, this is exactly on your test. This is the exact problem. I literally screenshotted it. So, Decory, girl, you better be taking notes right now. Got it? Literally. All right, next. Use paper to draw a tape diagram for this expression. And then we're going to answer it. This expression, and then we're going to answer it. It is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Number 6. Okay. The expression is going to be 3 divided by 1/3. 3 divided by 1/3. How can you draw a tape diagram for this expression. 3 divided by 1/3. So here's what we're going to do. How many do we start with? We start with 3. And what are we going to do with these 3? We're going to split them into thirds. How many of these third pieces do we have? How many of these third pieces? Derek, we don't have 1/9 pieces. How many total pieces? 9 total pieces. This is what it looks like mathematically. Remember, I multiply here by the reciprocal. So 1/3 turns into 3/1. 3 times 3/1 is 9. Okay, next question. Paisley works on her drawings for blank hours. She spends blank hour on each drawing. How many drawings does she work on in blank hours? Okay, let's see. Paisley works on drawings for, I'm going to keep with 3. 3 hours. She draws for 3 hours. She spends 1/4 of an hour on each drawing. 1/4 of an hour on each drawing. How many drawings does she work on in 3 hours? Use paper to draw a picture to support your response. So, what does this look like? She's drawing for 3 hours, right? And she spends how much time on each? 1/4. If you put 1/12, I'm going to be really mad, because the thing is, she doesn't draw just 1/12 of a drawing. She draws, actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. She draws 12 drawings. So mathematically, it's 3 divided by 1/4. What's the pattern? The pattern is we multiply by the reciprocal. That's how you get 12. So she works on 12 drawings in 3 hours. What questions do you have? Okay. Danny, you're chatting too much to other people. I know what you're doing, kid. You better get on task. I see you. All right, use paper to draw a tape diagram and a number line to solve. Fill in the blanks that follow. Ooh, this one's challenging. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, here we go. Here's what you're going to solve. You're going to solve 6 divided by 1/2. 6 divided by 1/2. Okay. So, how do we draw a tape diagram for 6 divided by 1/2? Well, I begin with 6. And then I'm splitting each piece in half. How many total pieces do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12, 12. 12. You should have 12. Mathematically, here's what it looks like. Oops. 6 divided by 1/2. You already know it. I'm going to take the red. We're going to multiply. We flip 1/2 into 2/1. We keep 6, and that's how you get 12. But look, on your quiz, it's going to say there are blank halves in one whole. How many halves are there in one whole? How many halves in one? How many halves? How many halves in one whole? Very good, Derek. There are 2 halves in one whole. You're going to have to fill this in on your quiz. How many halves are there in 6 wholes? How many halves? There are not 3 halves in 6 whole numbers. Thank you, William. There are 12. So if 6 is half, what is the whole? The whole would be 12. Okay, last problem that we are going to look at. Use the division expression blank to answer the following. Ooh, okay. We're going to look at 5 divided by 2, okay? Write this expression as a fraction. How would you write 5 divided by 2 as a fraction? How do you write 5 divided by 2 as a fraction? 5 divided by 2 as a fraction. Ooh. 5 divided by 2 as a fraction is 5/2, right? 1 divided by 4 as a fraction is 1/4. 6 divided by 4 as a fraction is 6/4. Okay, so 5 divided by a fraction is 5/2. Solve by dividing. So what I'm saying here is when you solve by dividing, you need to make this a mixed number. What's the mixed number? 5/2. What is 5/2 as a mixed number when you do the division? What is 5/2 as a mixed number? Oh, you're killing me, Larry. 5 divided by 2. Would be 2 1/2. Between which 2 whole numbers is your answer? Between which 2 whole numbers is your answer? So 2 1/2 is between 2 and 3, and it's between 3 and 2. So going up and going down. Okay? Select the word problem solution that can be represented by this expression. I don't have that, but you will do that on your quiz. What question do you have for me? Okay, remember, I'm going to show you one more time. Here's the difference. 5 divided by 1/4 and 1/4 divided by 5. You do the same thing. We multiply. Same thing. You multiply. You flip. 5 becomes 5/1, and if you flip it, it's 1/5. This first number stays the same. And when you multiply, this would be 20. This would be 1/20. Okay? That's the difference. This is a whole number being split into all these pieces. This is a small little piece being split into all these small little pieces. Okay. Do you multiply the denominator by the whole number or fraction? Derek, You change the division into a multiplication problem. You just change the division. See, the first step I did. I change the division into multiplication. Second step, Derek. Second step is you take that second number here and you flip it. Got it? Okay, friends. Woo. I will give you your 5 minutes. We've gone over 10. I'll give you 5. Your quiz will be open. Let's get that work done. Thank you for hanging. I am so sorry it took so long, but